Kid President says, "Life is too short to not be awesome." When I began this project, I was struggling with my identity. I didn't even know how to start to be awesome. I have taught so many different grade levels and curriculums. I have taught in 4 different elementary schools. I don't have a home. Maybe I'm a nomad, but I am also a hoarder. I don't hoard just physical things. I collect new strategies, teaching methods, and ideas from so many wonderful teachers. I carry a piece of all of these teachers with me as part of my identity. Through this struggle of my own identity, I hope to guide my students to establish their own identity and who they are. Through this reflection of my self identity and some recent conversations with my former students, I have developed what I believe in as a teacher. I believe students learn best when they can make personal connections to what and why they are learning. I love to find out their interests as well as their fears. I try to incorporate students and their interests into our lessons. I also love when my students can teach the lessons. They need to be part of the process. Prensky would agree. I need to be more aware of who my students are and what they already know. Sadly, I feel that over the past few years, with all my moves and new district and state initiatives, I have almost completely stopped making these real connections with students and their families. When I started teaching, I was a techno-constructivist. My students created digital portfolios. We used Google Drive to share their work. We use the Show Me app to create videos to teach others, and much more. Technology was part of my classroom and in the hands of students every day. They were creating, they were owning, they were learning. With 3 years in 4th grade, I was able to do this work. After moving to 1st grade, special education in 2 buildings, then 2nd grade in yet another building, I have downgraded to a techno-traditionalist. I consistently use my LCD projector, document camera, and my personal laptop to teach my students. But I believe my students need to be creating and sharing with their tools, not me. So about once a year, I'm able to free up a little bit of time to be a techno-constructivist again. And these are the times that the students remember. These are the activities my students are coming back to me and talking about when they created, when they learned. This upcoming year, I am teaching special education with inclusion and pullout. I will be working in 4 different classrooms across 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade. Before this class, I would have looked at the schedule and said, no way can I incorporate technology into my classroom. But now that I've had this course, I want to get back to my techno-constructivist ways and find a way to build personal connections with my students. Instead of just the simple About Me poster at the beginning of the school year that I honestly don't read, I want to make something more meaningful to the students and myself. Maybe we create a map of themselves with technology or actual paper and materials, or an artwork or a video. I want to get to know their real hopes and dreams, their real goals in life. Not just, I want to get better at reading or I want to get better at math, like I get from every student every year. Sir Ken Robinson says, kids are more engaged in curriculum that reflects them and their diversity. So I created a Google form for parents to answer survey-type questions about their funds of knowledge. In my last class with Dr. Hessen, we created a long list of possible questions for families. I also created a Google form for the students. I used pictures and words in the questions. This will help me learn quickly about the students within the first week of school. But I still did not feel that this was enough to really get to know my students and their goals. Simon Sinek said Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had many followers, but no way of advertising. He had many followers because of his dream, not the plan, like our government always has. And we always have plans for our kids in the classroom, especially as special educators. My students come to me with very specific goals on their IEPs, but the kids do not have any say in these goals. We often ask them, what are your hopes and dreams for 2nd grade? But we don't actually change our teaching or curriculum to meet these goals, nor do we provide time or ask questions to get to know our students' real dreams. Wesh and I both agree that we need to give students goals they want to attain. Just like the student that kept falling asleep in his class. I want my students to find their real interest and their real goals to connect to our learning in the classroom. So I created a Padlet for the students to read articles, watch videos, and discuss topics about their hopes and dreams. I can add more to the Padlet as I learn more about each student. I started thinking about Kid President videos and his pep talk for teachers and students. I watched a bunch of his videos and my ideas began to grow. I also added articles from Newsela at a second grade reading level to make it accessible to all my students. This is where I'll begin my discussion with my students. I'll be asking, what makes you awesome? What do you want to be able to do at the end of this year or at the end of high school? There are so many possibilities with this Padlet for my students to discover who they are. I hope my students can learn about themselves just as much as I want to learn about them. I kept this open-ended using Kid President inspirational leadership videos. I provided choices for my students to allow access to all students. I want my students to find their self-identity as it is right now and watch it grow and develop as I have done through my teaching career.